Everyone knows what the seven wonders of the world are, but very few know why and what it really means to be featured on that list. Unlike other lists that have a special organization that makes calculated decisions, the list of the seven wonders is simply based on vague status such as popularity. Before any of the lists, there were Hellenic travelers or Greek travelers making notes of the spectacular sights they came across in their journeys. As they passed through the Persian, Babylonian, and Egyptian lands, the best of architecture that civilization had to offer at that time presented itself before their eyes, later appearing in their travel guides, artworks, and poems. There were many iterations of the list of the wonders made by the Greek historian and geographer Herodotus, and Callimachus, who was a poet, a scholar, and a librarian. Lost, however, to the passage of time, only appears as references in other writings. Long before any other list of its kind, the wonders of the ancient world immortalized the remarkable creations of the classical age. However, the Greeks didn't really travel very far, hence none of the lists referenced in their writings ever talk about marvels from other ancient civilizations such as Africa, Europe, Asia, and America. The reason for the list to only contain 7 wonders, though, is simply because of the Greeks' belief in its representation of perfection and abundance, and because it was the number of the celestial bodies known in the ancient times, that is, 5 planets and the sun and the moon. This being the most well-known list of the ancient world, it was appreciated and acknowledged in many works of historians and geographers. But there would come a time after thousands of years, someone would decide to take this idea and revive it to match the modern age. In the 1990s, during the dawn of the internet, filmmaker Bernard Weber was looking to buy his first computer and move into the digital world. Fascinated by the boundless possibilities of the internet, he wanted to do something bigger, something that would bring people together from around the world. So in 1999, he decided to revive the idea of the ancient Greek concept of the 7 wonders of the world, much like how the Olympics was revived in 1896, which is another Greek concept turned into a global phenomenon. So in 2001, he started a project called New 7 Wonders, a global democratic exercise of the time made possible by the power of the internet, asking people to choose and elect the new man-made 7 wonders of the world from a list of 200 contenders from all over the globe. As time passed, the popularity of the campaign only grew. From just an idea, it became one of the biggest movements that attracted millions of voters from around the world. By late 2006, the list of 77 contenders had been lowered to only 21 finalists. Around that time, Bernard actually traveled to each of the 21 finalists with flashy appearances such as hot air balloons or on camelback and inside a blue blimp with his team to drive in more popularity, which worked just as he intended. And with more than 100 million votes, it was finally time to unveil the results. And so, on the 7th day of the 7th month of the year 2007, the new 7 wonders of the world were revealed. But this list was met with mixed receptions. Turns out not everyone was a fan of the results. Many people criticized the event, highlighting its flawed voting mechanic that allowed individuals to cast multiple votes. To avoid any form of controversy and confusion, UNESCO also issued a public statement back in June before the results were revealed to the public, saying that there is no link whatsoever between UNESCO's World Heritage Program, which aims to protect world heritage, and the current campaign concerning the new 7 wonders of the world, also stating that there's no comparison between Mr. Weber's mediatized campaign and the scientific and educational work resulting from the inscription of sites on UNESCO's World Heritage List. The list of the 7 new wonders of the world will be the result of a private undertaking, reflecting only the opinions of those with the access to the internet and not the entire world. This initiative cannot in any significant or substantial manner contribute to the preservation of sites elected by this public. With UNESCO's name cleared, the focus fell right on the voting system. You see, the internet was starting to take off in developing countries around that time. Matched with being able to vote multiple times, millions of people who got online quite recently didn't want to miss the chance to make a mark and let their presence known. And with China's population being just over 1.3 billion in 2006 and their internet infrastructure constantly developing at that time, the Great Wall of China making it to the final list is not a surprise. Countries made their own efforts by starting their own campaign to raise awareness and popularize the movement among its people. For example, the Vote for Christ campaign received the support of private telecom companies that stopped charging voters, allowing them to use the services free of cost, leading to more people learning about it and eventually voting for their country. They even had an airplane fly over the country for a month with the message 4916, vote for the Christ. Brazil wasn't the only country to take initiative. India, Chile, Jordan, and Mexico had their own campaigns that worked towards spreading the word among its people. But this wasn't the case elsewhere. In some countries, the people didn't even know about the campaign. For example, in Rome, it never really caught fire. But due to the popularity of the amphitheater of the gladiators, the Colosseum received enough votes from the Italians and the foreign visitors to be able to make it to the final list. After the results were declared, there were many arguments for and against whether or not the Great Pyramid of Giza deserved a place on the list. The Supreme Council of Antiquities of Egypt argued that the pyramids already enjoyed its time on the list. Later, it was given the honorary status by the organizers and put on the list as the 8th wonder of the world. Even though this movement had a lot of hype in its peak, other than New Seven Wonders' parent company, New Open World Corporation, this list isn't really universally recognized or backed by any established organization in the world. The New Seven Wonders of the World list falls short to the Seven Wonders of the Ancient World, mostly because of the intention behind it. The Greeks traveled to different places and were mesmerized by the wonders that the rest of the world had to offer. They weren't bound by the patriotic weight of representing their own nation when making their list. The one characteristic, though, that connects it back to the ancient Greek ideology is the number 7, set purely after the belief of it being the perfect number, which is probably tied to the Greek mythos. So, after 8 years, 200 candidates, and 100 million votes, we have a new list that claims to be the successor to its predecessor. Bernard claims that he started the foundation so that everyone can decide what the new 7 wonders of the world should be, and not some government, not some individual, not some institution. Even though many believe that he had managed to accomplish the goal, there are still numbers of speculation and disagreement that run longer than the list itself. Because of this, countries have taken it to their own hands to craft their list of wonders, independent from and not related to the one drafted by New Seven Wonders. But they're not as widely known as the 7 wonders of the world.